Hello and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. Many thanks for being with us. I'm joined now in the studio by Nicholas Rushworth for a look at what the world's press is saying this Friday morning. Hello, Nicholas.
Hi, Lorna.
And the French president is on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Why is that?
Yes, indeed. We can take a look here, the front page of the Wall Street Journal, Europe, and we can see Mr. Hollande, likes to call
nice young
himself
lady there behind
Mr. Normal, and that nice young lady is actually combing off the dust on his jacket. Bit of an unusual photo, and he's staring into the mid-distance, his eyes glazed over, probably that Euro crisis getting to him. But in fact, when you look at the caption below, it says that this is not the real thing. This is the wax model of Francois Hollande, which is now in Madame Tussauds in London. So a little bit of a comic entry into the Euro crisis. The Wall Street Journal, more seriously in its inside pages, is having a look at what's going on with the euro. We're going on, it's kind of never-ending story, isn't it? It's probably we're in the third year of the crisis. Here you can see graphs and charts and so on. The headline, inflated sense of crisis for euro's weakest. So it's looking at Greece and Spain, and it's arguing that what's happened for those Mediterranean countries is that the real thing that really hit them hard was everything became too expensive for them. That points to a key issue of being inflation. And the article at the end argues that the ECB's inflation target of 2% is just too much to handle for these southern countries. There needs to be more flexibility in terms of allowing temporarily for more inflation, and that will then make the whole situation more manageable. But at the moment, the quote there is, it's too difficult to pursue a rational economic policy in Europe.
Well, we're going to stick with the economy now because a French story about a vineyard sale has also hit the international newspapers.
Well, this is a well-known vineyard to the French, the Château Gévry-Chambertin, and it's in the Burgundy region. Now, it's been bought by a Macau gambling tycoon for a few million. Nothing odd in that, except it's the first time the Chinese have gone into the Burgundy region. Normally, they like to invest in Bordeaux. It was a big story in France yesterday, and it's hit the international press today. The Independent's picked it up. There you can see Burgundy sees red as Chinese tycoon snaps up Grand Chateau. Now, the wine there was Napoleon's favourite, apparently. So it's touching
close to French hearts.
Yeah, so it's been picked up too by the Canadian paper, the National Post. And the National Post is sort of, it actually takes the opportunity to say, well, Canadians, look, you think you've got takeover worries from China. It's not just us, it's actually happening in France too. And the paper, the National Post, there we can see a picture of the chateau there, looks lovely. And the paper there is arguing, well, in fact, takeovers in the United States from Chinese companies are at a record high. So that story is a global one.
OK, now we move on to the thorny issue of Prince Harry and the slightly saucy photographs that have been circulating of him in Las Vegas, those strip billiards photographs. Now, they're not being shown in most of the UK press, but one paper has decided to buck the trend today.
And that paper is the super Soaraway Sun, not to be missed in the UK if you walk down the street. And it has decided not to fall into line with what generally the British press have decided to do, which is not publish these photos. Loads of puns and jokes are all over the press about him. One of my favourite is he's not been well briefed. But there you go. They've decided to publish the photo, and the argument is that because it's so much present in the web worldwide, 77% of Brits have access to the web. In fact, as far as UK law or legislation would go, or guidelines in the Press Complaints Commission would go, that it actually is in the public domain. So it has a long spiel about that, whilst also, obviously, Lorna, printing those pictures.
Indeed.
So we've made a halfway house and showed a little bit of it. But
we're not quite the full crown jewels.
So one of the subheadings there was an officer and a gentleman, then listing all the details of his activities up to 6 in the morning. So.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much indeed, Nicholas. The mind boggles. Thank you very much indeed for joining us with that look at today's world newspapers. That's it from us for now. Many thanks for joining us.